Elena Marquez's boots crunched on broken stucco as she knelt to photograph a Maya hieroglyph. The Guatemalan jungle humidity soaking through her fieldwork shirt. It was 2024, and she'd spent 6 months excavating the ruins of Tikal, chasing her thesis on astronomical calendars in classic Maya civilization. The stone stela before her glowed faintly, an oddity she'd chalked up to sunlight filtering through the canopy, until her fingers brushed its carved symbols. A shock like electricity jolted her arm, and the world dissolved into a swirl of green and gold. When she opened her eyes, the jungle was gone, replaced by a bustling city of limestone temples, and a crowd of people in embroidered cotton tunics stared at her, their faces a mix of awe and fear. "She falls from the sky like Ixchel's messenger," a woman's voice declared. Elena turned to see a figure in a headdress of quetzal feathers, her skin painted with red pigment, holding a ceremonial dagger. This was Ixchel's high priestess, Zaziel. Elena recognized the regalia from her research. Before she could stammer an explanation, Zaziel's attendants lifted her, carrying her towards the tallest temple, her field bag stuffed with a tablet, compass, and water bottle clutched tightly in her hand. "The gods have sent her to train with us," Zaziel announced to the gathering crowd. "She will learn the ways of the stars." Elena's protests died in her throat. Arguing with a high priestess in 750 CE Maya civilization seemed like a death sentence. She became Ixchel's gift or an apprentice with no memory of her past, the stories Zaziel had crafted to explain her strange clothes and speech. The other apprentices treated her with cold deference. The oldest, Xochitl, was the temple's star speaker, blessed with the ability to interpret the gods' will through the night sky. She'd predicted a bountiful harvest the year before, and the city revered her. Socket's eyes narrowed every time Elena asked questions about the calendar, about the medicinal herbs the priestesses used, about the way the temple's alignment matched the solstice. "You ask too much," Xochitl snapped one evening, as they grounded cacao for a ceremonial drink. "The gods reveal their truths to those they choose, not to strangers." Elena bit her tongue. She wasn't being curious, she was using her archaeology knowledge to connect the dots. The Maya solar calculations were more precise than she'd realized. Their herbal remedies contained compounds modern medicine still used. Trouble came 3 weeks later. Xochitl failed to predict a lunar eclipse, an event the Maya considered a sign of the gods' wrath. When the moon turned blood red, panic swept the city. "The gods have abandoned us," the people wailed. Xochitl locked herself in her chamber, trembling. "I heard nothing," she confessed to Zaziel, her voice broken. The stars were silent. Suspicion turned to Elena. The elders whispered that she'd stolen Xochit's gift, that she was a sorceress. Zaziel called Elena to the temple's observatory, a circular tower with a stone dome aligned to the Pleiades. "You study the stars as if they are old friends," Zaziel said. Gesturing to the notebook Elena had hidden, she'd been sketching constellations, comparing them to her tablet's star maps. "Tell me, why did Xochitl fail?" Elena hesitated. She could lie, blaming it on divine whims. But she thought of the farmers who'd shared their corn with her, of the little girl who'd given her a woven bracelet, of Zaziel's quiet faith in her. "The stars didn't go silent," she said. "Xochitl was looking at the wrong constellation. The eclipse was tied to Venus, not the moon mother. Your calendar tracks it, see?" She pulled out her notebook, pointing to a sketch of Venus' orbit she'd copied from a temple wall. Zaziel's eyes widened. "You read the old glyphs?" Elena nodded, heart racing. "In my homeland, we study them." Zaziel didn't press for more. "Teach Xochitl," she said, "and be careful. The elders will not accept a foreigner's wisdom easily." Elena's lessons with Xochitl were tense at first, but grudging respect grew between them. Elena taught her to cross-reference the solar and Venus calendars. Xochitl taught her to mix healing salves and lead ceremonial chants. Elena's field bag became a secret weapon. She used her compass to align temple offerings perfectly. Her tablets charged by a portable solar panel she'd brought to store glyph translations. Her first aid kit to treat a child's infected wounds when the priestess's remedies failed. The people began to whisper about the gift who healed and knew the stars. Then the drought came. For 2 months, no rain fell. The reservoirs dried up, the corn withered, and the city's rulers threatened to sacrifice prisoners to appease the gods. We need the star speaker to ask Ixchel for mercy, the elders demanded. Xochitl stood before the crowd, her hands shaking. I cannot, she said. The stars did not answer. But Elena, she hears them differently. All eyes turned to Elena, she felt her throat go dry. She didn't hear gods, she heard the hummings of her geology class, where she'd learned that droughts in the Yucatan often preceded sudden storms, that the cloud patterns gathering on the horizon meant rain was coming. But the people needed a miracle, not a science lesson. That night, Elena climbed the observatory tower alone. She pulled out her tablet, checking the weather data she'd downloaded before the trip, a habit from her fieldwork days. The storm would hit in 3 days strong, but life-giving. She thought of Zaziel's trust, of Zocket's courage, of the little girl with the woven bracelet. When she descended, she wore Zocket's spare headdress, her back straight. Gather the people, she told the attendants. We will hold the ceremony at dawn. At sunrise, Elena stood on the temple steps, the crowd stretching before her. Incense smoke curled around her, and the drummers began a slow, steady beat. She closed her eyes, recalling the Maya prayers Xochitl had taught her, then spoke in clear, loud Spanish-accented Yucatec. Ixchel does not punish us, she tests us, she said. She says the rain has been held back by the wind god's anger, but he will relent. In 3 days, at midday, the skies will open. Until then, we must share every drop of water. Give to the children first, then the elders. Do not waste a single cup. She paused, then added, and do not sacrifice blood, will only make the gods turn away. The ruler's face darkened, but the crowd cheered. They'd seen her heal, seen her read the stars, they believed her. The next 3 days were a battle against fear. Elena organized water brigades, teaching people to collect dew from leaves and filter murky water with woven cloth, a trick from her survival training. Xochitl stood beside her, calming the panicked with prayers. The ruler threatened to arrest them both, but Zaziel intervened. The gift speaks for Ixchel, she said. Harm her, and you harm the gods. On the 3rd day, at midday exactly, the first raindrop hit Elena's cheek, then another, and another until the sky poured down, drenching the parched earth. The crowd screamed in joy, falling to their knees to kiss the ground. The ruler's face turned ashen, he knelt too. That night, the stela from Tikal appeared in Elena's chamber, glowing softly. When she touched it, a voice echoed familiar, like the wind through the jungle. Your work here is done if you wish it, it said, the portal home is open. Elena stared at the stela, her chest tight. She thought of her apartment in Boston, her thesis advisor waiting for updates, her mom's homemade tamales. But she also thought of Xochitl laughing as they mapped constellations. Of Zaziel handing her the high priestess's headdress, it was always yours. Of the little girl running to hug her, shouting star seer. She picked up the stela and pressed it to her forehead. I'm not done, she said. The glow faded. Years later, Elena, now known as High Priestess Ixchel's gift, led the Maya city through storms and harvests. Her tablet hidden in the temple vaults. Xochitl became her second in command, their bond unbreakable. When foreign scholars visited the ruins centuries later, they found hieroglyphs telling of a woman from the sky who taught the Maya to read the stars and heal the sick. They called her a myth. But Elena knew the truth. She was just a girl from Boston who'd found her purpose in a time not her own.